On today's episode, I have Alex Baker with me, and he was in the Marine Corps for 5 years, got deployed to Afghanistan, and he talks all about the journey through finding success and purpose. We get vulnerable. We talk about the ins and outs of depression. Alex doesn't hold back. He shares an awesome message at the end. Be sure to like and subscribe, and most importantly, enjoy the episode. Wherever you are and however you're listening, thanks for being back with us on another episode of Winning the Moment. Today is pretty exciting because I got someone that I work with. His name is Alex Baker. He is our director of marketing at Vibrant Marketing, repping the branding on the shirt. Always appreciate that. Alex, thanks for being here.
It's great to be here.
And it's cool too because you've been like an avid listener of the podcast since you joined. How long have you been at Vibrant Marketing?
March 6th or May 6th.
Okay, so it's how many months is that? Like 5? 5 months?
Something like that.
So you've gotten into quite a bit of the episodes. Do you have one that sticks out to you?
Probably the last one with
Thomas?
Yeah.
Nice.
I like that one.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Relevant. Okay, so obviously working with Alex, I thought it'd be cool to have him come tell his story. Maybe we'll get into a little bit about what Vibrant Marketing does, but the most interesting and compelling story I wanted you to talk about was your service in the Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm.
So when did you graduate high school?
2008.
Oh shit. So you went from high school right to the Marine Corps.
I was signed up before I even graduated.
No way. You know what's funny? I wanted to join the National Guard when I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Big for like the money, because you got like a $10,000 signing bonus or $18,000 maybe. I can't remember what it was. And my dad would not let me. We got into like a big fight about it because I was like, I got to do this, you know. But all I was thinking about was like, I don't know what I'm going to do necessarily, and here's some money. And I was like, we won't get deployed. Like, I don't even have to worry about it. And he's like, no, that's not how it works.
Yeah, my whole family was Air Force.
So you had it in your family.
Yeah, so when I went to my dad, I was like, I'm thinking about joining the Marine Corps. He was kind of like, what the hell? Why the Marine Corps? And I was like, well, they got badass uniforms. You know, so that was like the biggest thing.
Where did you go to high school at?
Pineview.
Okay. Oh yeah, local. Okay.
Yep. So he was pretty against going into infantry. So I was like, well, I mean, aviation sounds cool. Doing like electronics. So we looked into that, and he was okay with signing because I was 17 when I did it.
Wow. So you went to the Marines but did aviation.
Mm-hmm.
So why not the Air Force? Just because the uniforms are badass?
I can't remember exactly why, but I don't know. Marine Corps just sounded way cooler.
It does sound cooler.
You know?
Okay, so then you graduate high school in what, like May or so?
Yeah.
And then when do you leave is it called basic training in the Marines?
Yep.
When did you leave for that?
Like a month after. Like
no shit.
June 23rd of 2000.
Man, so you were still a kid.
Yeah, yeah.
How were you 18 by the time you went?
I was 18.
And what was that like, basic training?
I mean, you try to prepare as much as you can, but it was nothing like I have ever expected it would be like.
Yeah.
You know, you get there.
And this is in San Diego?
Yeah, this is San Diego. You get there, you're on the bus, they're yelling at you, and you're just kind of like, what have I gotten myself into? You know, you get out, and you have to stand on your yellow footprints, and I mean, it was...
Did you have to shave your head?
Yeah, yeah.
Did you have long hair like you do now?
Yeah.
And you had to just get rid of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get the basic training. Are most of the people in, what would they call that? Your squadron or your group? Are they like your age?
Yeah. Yeah, mostly.
Okay,
there's
so all
a couple
young kids.
Outlanders that are a little older.
You think you could do it now?
Now, yeah.
Easier or harder?
Well, I think how it is now, I could probably do it. But if it was the same as it was when I went in
oh, they changed it?
Yeah, I think it's gotten a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah, they can't be so mean anymore.
Yeah.
We're too soft.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me more about basic training. What is that like? So you get there, you're on your yellow footprints, and what then what?
I had to, they let you call home, but you couldn't like talk to anybody other than like reading from a script. Like pretty much, hey, I'm here, I'm alive. And
you had to follow a script?
Yeah. You couldn't like say, hey dad, what's up?
Man, so they're really taking control of your life. Like instantly, they're like, you're my puppet.
Pretty much.
Holy shit, that's great. I can't believe that.
Yeah.
Out of fear of what? Do you think that was to mentally show you that they're in control? Or like what would be the reasoning for that?
I think they were trying to get everybody on the same like level of
Yeah.
like respect of like authority, I would say.
Wow.
Um,
Did that
know.
work?
oh yeah,
Interesting.
for me it did. I was
Yeah.
terrified.
Fear.
Yeah. So
So you call your family, you follow the script.
yeah, and then you just have a couple days of being awake to try to get everybody. I think just to kind of get everybody on the same. Like,
They don't let you sleep?
Yeah, you're up for a couple days doing a bunch of paperwork, filling out medical.
What are you doing at nighttime?
That.
Oh.
It's like 2-3 days of just like straight nonsense.
And they won't let you sleep.
yeah,
Oh, wow, that's wild.
yeah.
Just to see like how you operate when you're sleep deprived?
No, I don't think it's that. I think it's trying to get people in the same like, because you get people coming from all over.
Yeah.
So I would think it was trying to get everybody to a point where they are tired. So then when you do go to sleep,
Everyone's getting acclimated
Yeah.
to the same schedule. Okay, so 3 days, basically no sleeping. Are you doing physical labor at that time right in the beginning?
I think you're getting kind of accustomed to like marching.
Yeah.
And you're getting, things like that done.
Are you in your uniform already? Is that like a first thing they do? Get you your
Yeah.
hair cut and get you in your
Yep.
uniform?
Yeah.
So what are you wearing at basic training?
Just camis.
What's that?
Like camouflage.
Oh, okay, and
Yeah.
boots.
Yeah.
That's wild. Okay, so 3 days in, you finally sleep. How does that feel?
I'm guessing good.
You don't remember?
You don't
Fuck, if
remember.
you kept me up for 3 days, I feel like I'd remember that
Yeah,
sleep.
but I mean, as soon as you go to sleep, you're getting yelled at to get up. So I mean, it's
Oh,
like,
really?
yeah.
Even after 3 days, they're just
Yeah.
right on you.
You're-
What time does your day usually start at boot camp?
I would say 6.
6 o'clock in the morning. They come in
5:30.
yelling at you.
Yeah.
And then what does a typical day look like in basic training?
Yeah, you get up, make your bed, and then you're getting dressed by the numbers. Kind of like,
By the numbers, what does that mean?
so it's like put on your shirt 10, 9, 8, 7, 4, 3, 2. We like.
Oh,
you're
they're
done.
like
yeah,
racing you through it.
yeah, like they're just constantly putting stress on you.
Yeah.
And then you would go to chow, you would eat breakfast, and you only have like a certain amount of time. Like they have everything scheduled out for you
Like
by like
this.
30 minutes,
Yeah.
and if you have extra time, you're usually doing something dumb.
Did you go out there with any friends or were you out there by yourself?
I went out with one buddy.
Okay.
Like, we weren't like good friends, but I knew of
You at least
him.
knew him.
Yeah.
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 Probably made it a little easier.
Yeah, but I mean, like you meet friends that you have forever.
Yeah, sure.
Not so much. I don't have any from boot camp that I still talk to.
But the people you're deployed with.
But like people you're deployed with, people you're in the fleet with.
So if you're in there for aviation, is your boot camp different than? No, it's all
No.
the same. Doesn't matter what you're going
Yeah.
into.
It's all the same through boot camp. For
And how
everybody.
long is that?
3 months,
3 months
13 weeks.
every day.
Yeah.
So what after you chow, then what? What do you guys do?
Like march around, just stuff that like at the time was like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
But some advice my dad told me right before I left was like, no matter what you do, there's a reason why you're doing it.
Sure.
And that's kind of what I held on to, like going through all that.
So even when you thought it was like nonsense.
Yeah, like
this-
making your bed at like 10, 15 times because somebody messed up. Even if somebody didn't mess up, they just said someone messed up, so you're doing it again.
Oh,
you know?
even if you made your bed right, but someone else
Yeah.
messed up, you got to remake yours.
Yeah.
Do you make your bed every day now?
No,
Really?
my wife does.
So the bed is made.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. All right. So then, when do you get into like the cool stuff? When are you doing like hard things, learning to shoot? Like, do you get into that at basic training?
Yeah, so like I would say like the second month you're there, you get to go to the range. They move you up to so you leave MSRD, that's San Diego.
Okay.
So you get to go to another camp. I can't remember exactly where it was. It was in Pendleton,
Okay.
pretty sure. And they do like more field stuff. You get to do like the range. You do some more like.
Did it stay chaotic the whole time?
No, I think at that point you kind of get used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you just
So
kinda
was it the
expect
same? It just didn't affect you in the same way, but is it still like 10, 9, 8, 7,
Oh,
6?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So that all stays the
That's
same
all
the whole
stays
time.
the same. Yeah.
And then the regiment stays the same. 30
Yeah.
minutes for everything. What was the hardest part about boot camp?
Probably that like first few weeks of just like getting accustomed to like what is going
And
on.
to think you're so young. I mean, like you are a kid.
Yeah.
having grown ass men just scream at you.
Yeah. But I mean, towards the end, you start looking at these guys and going, dang, these guys are pretty badass.
Yeah.
Like our kill hat, the kill hat is like just the one that's the mean one all the
Yeah.
time. He was a 0311 infantry.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, he's an infantry guy.
Okay.
And so he was pretty.
So he's been in like real
yeah.
battle.
But he always took like the extra second to teach us something that wasn't.
Okay.
Like,
I wish I
on the
could be
schedule.
badass like those guys.
Yeah. Just so there's some cool stuff that he got to do.
That's awesome. So then you're going through that, and boot camp's the same for everyone. So then what do you do like when you graduate? Did people not make it through boot camp to be a Marine?
I would say yeah, probably.
But not that you like recall necessarily, but
No,
not
there was a
everyone makes
couple.
it.
There was a couple guys that I knew of that for like medical reasons.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was there ever a time that you thought like, fuck it, I'm gonna quit and not do this? It's too hard. No, you were
No.
committed the whole time. What was the hardest part? But besides those 2 weeks, was there a physical thing that was like very difficult or challenging or scary, anything like that?
They have like your final test. It's called the Crucible, and you go back to like Pendleton, and you have to do like a lot of, like backpacking essentially.
Okay.
And a lot of field work. You have to sleep outside and dig a foxhole and
How long is that test?
2-3 days.
Oh shit. Yeah, my dad's girlfriend had a son who was an Army Ranger,
Mm-hmm.
and they did some like crazy shit in like North Carolina where they dropped him off in the woods and then like hunted him down, and he had to like survive it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
No, nothing like that. I didn't do
Okay.
anything
Nothing like that. All right. So then after you graduate, then what do you do?
like that.
Are you getting paid this whole time?
Yeah.
Did you get like a sign-on bonus and stuff?
I was supposed to.
But you never did?
Got it.
What?
Yeah, I should have been
Dude,
more
put that
like,
shit on your taxes. The
Yeah.
government owes you and interest.
Yeah, right.
What was it supposed to be?
Like 5,000.
And you just didn't
Yeah,
ask for it?
I guess. I don't remember.
There's a good lesson for the listeners.
Yeah.
Ask for what's owed to you. Okay,
It's
so
good-
you
you
get
get-
paid. What do you
yeah.
get paid when you're in the Marines, like in basic training?
Let's see, like an E1. I don't know, $500, like
A month?
something like that.
So
Maybe.
like nothing.
Yeah, it was very much.
Shit.
Yeah.
Man, I thought part of the reason people did it because you got paid good.
No.
No. Okay. All right. So after your 90 days is up, then what do you do? Because you are going into aviation. So you want to be working on the planes? Is that like what you're going to do?
Yeah. Yeah. So after you graduate, you get 2 weeks leave, and then you have to go back to basic combat training.
What did you do during those 2 weeks? You do something fun?
I just went home and hung out with family.
Was it nice?
Yeah.
I bet. Did you make your bed every day?
No.
So it didn't instill that in
No.
you.
No, not at all.
You probably felt good to not make your bed.
Yeah. But yeah, then you go back to like a basic combat training.
Okay.
So that you get to shoot more guns, like the.
Even in being aviation, you still got to learn all that part of it.
I mean, you're a rifleman first.
What does that mean?
You need to learn how to fight first.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in a war zone, you probably know how to do it.
Right.
So did you know your wife at this time?
Yeah. Yeah.
Were
We
you-
knew each other in high school.
Were you guys in a relationship at this time while you were
No.
doing all that? No. Okay.
No.
So you didn't have any kids or responsibilities or
No.
anything like that. So then when you go back for that second part of training, how long does that last?
I think it's like a month.
Oh, that's pretty short.
Yeah.
And then you're fully a Marine?
Yeah. Well, you're a full Marine after boot camp.
Oh, you are.
Yeah. They
Okay.
give you your
So you get like the
eagle and anchor,
graduation and
yeah.
the outfit and all that cool
Yep.
stuff.
Yep.
Okay, so then did you know because you weren't like a reserve, you were in the Marines. So did you know definitively like you were going to get deployed, or
Mhm.
you didn't know what what your future was going to be necessarily?
No.
Did you know where you're even going to live?
No.
When do you find that out?
So after that basic combat training, then you go to school, like your MOS school.
Okay, what is
And-
MOS?
It's just your specialty.
Okay. Oh, so
Um,
then you went to aviation school basically.
Yeah.
And was that in San Diego too?
No, it was in Pensacola first,
Okay.
Florida. And then from there I went to North Carolina, Cherry Point.
Wow. So how long were you in that training for?
Let's see. Like 9 months. It was pretty long. That's why
Wow,
my
so-
contract was 5 years instead of 4.
It's like a year of education.
Yeah.
Wow. Before you even are like fully in your role.
Right. And then through this whole time, we kept getting told about this other like job. It's called 990, and we were always told like that's where all the shitbags go. Like all
Okay.
the turds, you know. So
990.
Yeah, fast forward to the end of Cherry Point. I get my orders to go to Camp Pendleton, you know, which is awesome because I didn't want to be on the East Coast because I want to be close to Utah.
Yeah.
So I get to Camp Pendleton, check into my shop. It's electrical aviation, so we did like night vision goggles. We got to work on
Okay.
frequencies, you know, things like that. I was there for probably a couple months.
Did you get to go up in the planes?
No.
Oh, what a bummer.
Yeah. So, get to my shop. I'm there for a couple months, and then they need somebody for 990, and I'm going, fuck, I'm not a shitbag. Am I a shitbag? You know?
Oh no.
And I was the last one to get to the shop, so of course I get
Because you're the low man on the totem
yeah,
pole.
I get fapped over the 990.
Oh, so what's 990?
So
What is it?
It's just so they do a lot of air, like they work on air conditioning. They do generator work. It's just like
Boring, like mechanical work.
well, we're told that that's like where the redheaded stepchildren go.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what we're told. Like the shitbags go there.
Yeah.
And long story short, I'm so glad I went there. It turned
Really?
out to be like the best thing ever.
No way. So
Yeah.
is that still in Camp Pendleton, or did
Yeah.
you go somewhere
No,
else?
that's in Camp Pendleton.
Okay. So why did it end up being the best thing?
So I got to learn like how to drive a forklift. You know, I drove like a big 25K forklift. We worked with what's called mobile facilities. Have you ever seen those like pod containers?
Oh yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they're pretty much like that, but they have lights in them. They have big AC units in them, and then
Just mobile.
yeah, and then
Mobile buildings.
you can stack them too. You can stack them and make like complexes out of them.
Wow.
Like little cities. So I got to do that. I got to be the one to stack them and build these
That's
little
cool.
cities and stuff. On
So you
'em.
really liked it.
Yeah. It
So you
was
ended up not
awesome.
even working on planes, really? Then.
No, not at all.
Wow.
So I went to like 9 months of school for nothing. You know?
Just like everybody else that
Yeah.
goes to school.
Right. Exactly.
How interesting. Okay, so then you're there doing that. This is like 2009-ish now.
Yeah. Close to 2010.
And at this point, are you thinking it's like you will get deployed? Do you know that yet? Like if you're going to or not? So how long were you in the Marines before you ended up getting deployed to Afghanistan?
I got deployed March 2010.
Okay, so you're about 2 years into it before you got deployed.
Mhm.
And then at that time, were you like excited to go? Were you nervous to go? Like what was it like?
A little bit of both. I mean, I didn't really know what to expect, you know?
Because like when you joined the Marines, did a part of you want to go to
Oh, yeah.
combat?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So when you got it, it was like a mixed emotions because now it's real.
Right. So, do you want to just jump right to deployment?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Did I miss something? What was
Not
in
really.
between?
Not really, because I learned a lot from my deployment.
What about your wife at this point when you're deployed? Do you know her yet? Or well, you know her obviously, but are you in a relationship with her?
Yeah. So when I went back for those 2 weeks,
Yeah.
I went back for Christmas, and I like text all these girls and stuff that I had.
You dog.
That was that I was talking to like before I left,
Yeah.
and she's the only one that
Responded.
text me back. You know.
Don't tell that story. You chose her.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you were in San Diego, did you live on base?
No. Yeah.
You did. Okay. So then you go back, hang out with her, Christmas stuff, start your guys' relationship.
Mhm. Yeah.
Did you get married before you got deployed?
So, like, we were talking to each other and stuff all through when I was in Pensacola and Cherry Point and everything.
Okay.
And then I got slated for deployment, and married guys make a lot more money.
That's what I thought.
You know,
and then
so-
like all the benefits.
Yeah. So that kind of, I was planning on asking her to marry me like that following October. And then I was going to leave in March. So I was just like, dang, that kind of fast forward, like that
Yeah.
whole plan.
Yeah.
So I ended up asking her to marry me in like November before. So almost like a year sooner.
Wow.
Yeah.
And did you grow up in Utah? Were you LDS?
I was a convert.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like was she?
Yeah, she grew up with it.
So did you guys get married like in the temple and all that?
Yeah, like a year after we got married.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you got married officially so you get all the military benefits and then did like the temple marriage and stuff
Right,
after.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So you get married, go to deployment. And then what's that like? What's it like being in Afghanistan? What was your base like?
So we flew into Camp Bastion. It's like it's a bigger base.
Is that in Afghanistan or okay?
Yeah.
Would you fly over there? And did you fly over one of those big military planes?
So we flew out of Miramar on a commercial. We flew into like Kyrgyzstan or some.
The movies make it seem so much cooler. I felt like
Yeah.
you'd be in one of those huge planes, you know, where like you're
Yeah.
strapped in.
Yeah, so we flew commercial out of Miramar to like Kyrgyzstan or whatever that place is called.
Okay.
I have no idea. And then from there we flew in a C-130.
When you're flying commercial, are you dressed in your army gear?
Yeah, we're in camis.
You are, okay.
Yeah, and then so we went C-130 from there to Afghanistan.
So now you're on a military plane.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm pretty sure we're like flaked up too, like helmets and
Oh,
everything.
yeah. Wow.
And that one was
Were
pretty
you-
packed. Like we were sitting like,
Shoulder to shoulder.
yeah, and then
Along the outside of the plane? Is that how it is?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then people on the inside too. So like I think your knees are like interlocked with the person sitting in front of you.
No.
Yeah.
For how long?
It was like 4 hours.
No, you weren't.
Yeah.
Just face to face.
Yeah.
Laps and laps.
Yeah.
Oh my, that's terrible.
It was.
Did you know the person across from you?
I don't remember.
How awkward.
It was.
Imagine just that's very intimate.
You know what's worse is there was this staff sergeant, this girl, she had to take a poop. And
Okay.
they had her at the back of the plane like squatting in like a bag or something.
No.
Yeah.
There's,
And
no,
everybody's like looking at her like, dude, come on.
there's not a bathroom on the
No.
plane?
No.
Oh my, so she just shits in a bucket. Did you at least throw it out?
I don't know what they did with it. I just remember thinking like, you kidding me?
Oh my gosh. So
Yeah.
how many people are in that plane, do you think?
No idea.
Guess.
100,
Okay.
50, 100.
Interesting. Okay, so you're flying. So is that like the first time it felt real when you're on that
Yeah.
military plane?
Yeah. And then
Knees to knees.
Yeah. And then they do like a combat landing where it's pretty much like a stair step. They turn out all the lights coming into Afghanistan. And that was pretty wild.
Oh, so that way, like, if there were people trying to shoot down planes, they don't see you.
Yeah. And they can't hit like your target because you're like a stair. You're going down like stairs in a plane.
Wait, explain that to me.
Me.
Oh,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
so they go down, drop elevation, flatten out,
Yeah.
drop elevation.
Yeah. So that was pretty wild.
Did that feel scary?
I don't know. Probably.
You just don't fucking remember.
I don't.
Okay, so you get there, you're at your base. Is that the base you stay at then?
Yeah, I was there for like a couple weeks.
Did you know how long you would be deployed for at the time when you landed?
No,
I had no idea.
like we had like an idea. Like they're pretty. It's like 7 months. So I was
Usually.
yeah. So in Bastion for 2 weeks, and then there was another because I went out there as 990 to take care of like base power and
Okay.
stuff.
Uh-huh.
So 2 weeks in, we have another shop that's in Kandahar.
Okay.
And so then me, another sergeant, me and him just go. And then we meet like 2 other guys there. So we go to Kandahar, and that's where I stay. The remaining of the deployment is in Kandahar.
So you're like kind of the base maintenance. Like you're making
Yeah.
sure everything's running, everyone's got
Yeah.
power, all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
so they take those mobile facilities out there, and then the other shops, the guys that do like they work on like calibration
Yeah.
or the night vision goggles or something, stuff from the helicopters and planes that are out there. They work in those, but we have to maintain them.
And then did you ever get to leave the base like in combat?
Mm.
Did you leave the base ever?
Mm.
Never left the base.
No.
Did you guys ever have like attacks on the base when you
Yeah.
lived there?
Yeah.
How was that? Was that scary?
When we first got there, they have like an alarm for like indirect fire and stuff coming into the base. And
Uh-huh.
They were like the Afghans or whoever was doing it
Yeah.
were lobbing in, mortars like every night. It was like around the same time every night, like 7:00. That alarm would go off, and you would have to like get on the ground, get your flak and helmet,
What's a flak?
just your vest with
Oh,
plates,
okay.
your plate carrier.
Okay.
essentially. Yeah.
And did they ever hit people in the base? Did people die in the base?
I think there was one or a couple that got really injured.
Yeah.
But I mean, they weren't very accurate. They were putting them on these rail systems, and they kind of just like lobbed them into the base.
They're just hoping
Yeah,
to hit
pretty
somebody.
much. There were a couple times where there was one time in particular, I was walking back from the laundry room where I just dropped off my stuff, and I just walked across like a tiny little road from back to like where we were staying,
Yeah.
and I was with my sergeant, and a mortar hit the laundry room, and they have TCNs, they're like local people that work there,
Uh-huh.
and one guy got his hand blown off,
Oh my God.
so that was kind of wild.
And so did you like feel that explosion then?
Oh yeah, you feel them all.
Oh, you do. So would you say that was the most scared or the closest ever got for you?
I don't think so, but it was kind of like a whoa. That was kind of wild.
So what was the most scared you ever got then?
The most one is it was pretty early when I got there, and they had like everyone had to go to a bunker, and we stayed in a bunker like all night.
Oh, because
And
there was like an attack, an
there was like
imminent attack.
yeah, there was like an attack through a perimeter, and like you could hear small arms fire and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, and you could see like mortars hitting the like over in the
Dang.
distance, you know.
How big is the base?
Kandahar's pretty big. It's a NATO base, so there's like all different countries and branches there.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you were there, did any part of you wish that you were like leaving and going on missions, or were you thankful that you got to stay on the base?
It's probably a little bit of both,
Yeah.
you know, because I had friends that did get to go do security stuff, and they had some pretty wild stories. But I think my shop was just too small to let somebody go,
Yeah.
you know, so I didn't really get to go.
So were you pretty busy every day on the base, or did
Yeah.
you have like free time? Like, what did that look like?
I mean, we worked every day.
You did.
Yeah, 12-hour shifts.
12-hour shifts, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I mean,
Were you
like,
getting paid good at this time though, since you're
Yeah.
married, deployed?
yeah,
and-
and hazards pay and everything.
Yeah.
You know, a typical day would, you know, we get up at 6-ish. We have a bus that we tactically acquired from a motor pool. It was kind of wild because it's left-hand drive, and
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of weird. But so we had that. We used that to get to work. We had to drive to the flight line, and that's where we worked.
How far was that?
Like 2 miles,
Oh, okay.
not too far.
Yeah.
And then, so I mean, we would have like things that we had to do every day. We had like preventative maintenance on our generators and, you know, things like that. And then after work, we would just go to the gym. They had a gym there, you know, get swole.
Yeah.
And then
Did you get in good shape when you were there?
I gained I went out there at like 150, a little guy. And
Yeah.
I came back at like 196.
No shit.
Yeah.
Muscle?
Yeah. So I got up to like 175 by myself, and then I got on like a pro hormone that
Yeah.
was like a 4 quad stack or something, and it pretty much my body made it into a steroid.
Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah.
46 pounds
Yeah, so it came back.
on a little frame
yeah, so it
too.
just came back like super jacked. People are just like, what the crap? You know,
Shoot.
steroids? They're like, nah, no, of course not.
And so that was 7 months you were there.
Mm-hmm.
And so then what was it like coming home? Because now you just had like this very regimented, working 12 hours a day, doing the gym. Like your life is very much in a routine, right? And did you feel like fulfilled that like you were supporting your country while you're over there?
Oh yeah.
And then at that time, did you feel like it was a good cause? Like, what was the overall sentiment on the base? Was it like, this is good, we're here, we're doing good work?
Oh yeah.
It was, okay.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about how they pulled out of Afghanistan?
It's a disgrace. You know, it makes you feel like all that was for nothing.
Well, kind of was now, right?
Yeah.
Because we were there for like 20 years, but
Yeah.
now like the Taliban's taken it all back over,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
I believe so. When we left like all that, did you barely just see, because they just celebrated like a year or 3-year anniversary of like us leaving. I can't remember how long it's been, but we left all that stuff. And so they did like a parade of like our helicopters and our Humvees and our motors, like just parading around.
Yeah.
Like, look how awesome this is,
Yeah.
you know?
It makes us, I've had some pretty big conversations with some people I was out there with, and it's
Yeah.
it's just sickening, really,
Yeah.
you know, because I mean,
Why do you think we did that?
we
Like as in the government, like the United States.
like one person.
Yeah. What was the purpose of that? Why did we pull out like the way we did?
I don't know. I think they were been saying it for so long,
Yeah.
and they just left.
It's really wild because like legitimately now it's just back to how it was.
Yeah,
Just now they're better equipped.
yeah. I think we should have left, like, but just not how we did.
Yeah, like in a
There's-
more tactical manner,
Yeah,
not just pulling the rug out and leaving.
stupid.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's got to be hard knowing that you're there, like working towards something. And
yeah. I mean, because you feel like you're doing something good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So when you came back, then that means you still had like 2-ish years left of Marine service. And so when you came back, what did that look like? You just went back to the base and did more 990 stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and
But
then
I came back, and because I was put in a position where I needed to figure stuff out,
what do you mean?
like how to fix things.
Oh,
and
okay.
everything. I came back knowing more than like anybody that was in the shop currently.
Oh, okay.
So I just came back and took over, really.
Wow.
You know.
And so you're married then at this time.
Mm-hmm.
So did your wife live with you in San Diego?
Mm-hmm.
And you guys didn't live at the base at that
No.
time, obviously.
No.
Okay. And
So- Yeah. So she actually moved to San Diego by herself while I was still deployed. Found us an apartment and did just amazing stuff to get things ready for when I came home.
yeah,
It was already done.
came back to a home.
Yeah.
And so what did it feel like being back? Was it like, did you still enjoy your service the same, or was it hard to be in like such a structured, wild environment and then just come back stateside and just being like you're a Marine still, but you're also like living like a civilian.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like?
I think it was a pretty big shock just because like the routine of it. Because
Yeah.
I would go to work, go to the gym, go eat,
Yeah.
go sleep. You know, it was
Right.
it was a Tuesday every day. You know,
Yeah,
I,
right.
I worked yesterday and I work tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, but when he came back, I tried to maintain like working out and that size. But I mean, it was expensive, so like to eat that much.
Yeah. What do you
Um,
weigh right now sitting in that chair?
Like 170.
Wow, it's down like 25 pounds from what you were.
Yeah.
And how was that with your wife? Because now you lived in these barracks with a bunch of dudes, and you also were only accountable to like your work and yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But now you've got a job, and then you've got this other human who wants to obviously interact with you in a separate way than the guys in the barracks. Was that a hard transition to make, coming home and then like, because was that the first time you guys had lived together as a married couple then?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that must have been crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we got married and then I deployed.
That's what I mean.
You
So
know,
it's like,
and then I came back and
and you came back a little bit of a different person.
yeah, it was huge.
Yeah. And I'm sure mentally also,
Yeah, of
you know?
course.
So how was that? Like, what was that transition like?
I mean, we had our difficulties for sure. You know, as a
Yeah.
new couple, and but I feel like we did really well.
Yeah.
You know,
And you guys have been married now for how long?
15 years.
That's good.
Yeah.
You're killing the game.
15 in January.
That's awesome. So what were the biggest takeaways from your deployment?
It's probably just being put in positions where it's like you need to figure this out, or
Yeah.
we're not going to be able to have power, and these guys aren't going to be able to do their job, and you know, it was like we were like the arm that threw the spear. You know,
Yeah.
Like, without that, we're not going to be that. Nobody else is going to be able to do their job.
And was it challenging to leave such a purpose-driven situation and then come back to just civilization?
No, I don't think it was difficult. I think the biggest one was just because when you're deployed, all you do is you do your job.
Yeah.
Because I mean, when you're stateside, you're preparing for that.
Yeah.
So then when you come back, you're back you kind of have to do the dumb stuff.
Was it weird when you came back? Did you think you'd be going out again?
No.
So was it weird then to be in that role? Because like you just said, you're like preparing to go to war, but now you know, like, I'm not preparing to go to war. I've already done it.
Mm-hmm.
So did that make the job feel different to you for those last couple of years?
No, not really. I think I was just looking forward, you know, like what's the next thing I need to do? You know, you have
Yeah.
to work on what's called a cutting score, and that's how you get promoted.
Okay.
When I was deployed, my sergeant was pushing me to be promoted meritoriously.
Meritoriously means what?
Like like, dang, this guy's freaking squared away. He's awesome. Let's promote him,
Okay.
even without his cutting score.
Okay. Gotcha.
But I didn't make it.
It's like merit-based promotion.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I didn't make it, but because I did so much extra stuff, it just made my cutting score unbelievably high.
Yeah.
So I got promoted like right when I got back to a corporal, like E4.
Okay.
So at that point,
What do you get with that promotion?
you're an NCO,
What does that mean?
non-commissioned officer.
What does that mean?
It's just like you just take on more responsibilities.
Do you get a
really.
pay increase too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then retirement benefits, I'd imagine, like also better if you're depending on what rank you are.
I think so.
Do you get retirement benefits?
No, I didn't. You have to do 20 years for that.
20. Okay. So you come back now. You're an E4. You're a corporal. So you're running the 990.
Mhm.
Did you get promoted any level higher than that
Mm.
in your time? And why did you not continue? What was the reasoning that you just did the 5 years?
Didn't really like where like senior leadership was going.
Okay.
That was a big one, and then I just wanted to do something else. Really, I had all these benefits. I had like
Yeah.
the GI Bill. I know that my wife wanted to move back to St. George,
And what do you get with the GI Bill?
free college.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you got that because you served in the Marines. Is that what you did? You came back and went to school.
Mhm.
And when did you know you weren't going to continue? Like, what part in that 5-year journey were you like, okay, I'm going to be done when this contract's up?
Probably like 4.
So that last year, you kind of knew you're transitioning
Mhm.
back to Utah.
Yeah.
And so did you guys come back to St. George?
Yeah.
And then what was your plan at that point?
Go to school.
Crazy because you're still young because you're only 23 then, right?
Yeah.
About?
Yeah.
That's still really young.
Yeah.
So you came back to go to school. Did your wife go to school too? Or
No.
did you guys have kids at this point?
No.
Okay, still no kids.
Yeah. No kids. We did get pregnant like the first year back though,
Okay.
because my boy was born in 2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so shortly thereafter.
Mhm.
And so what did you go to school for?
A lot of stuff. I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I went.
Was it weird, like, because you'd already like had this career, and like, you were a corporal in the Marines, and then you're a college student.
Yeah. So you remember the movie Billy Madison?
Yeah.
The scene where he's sitting in kindergarten with a bunch of kids. Yeah. Yeah, that's how I felt.
That's what you felt.
That's how I felt like.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. These kids were born in like 97.
Yeah.
What the,
That is so. Well, I mean, you'd live like a life. You'd
Yeah.
literally been to war.
right. And the icebreaker's always like, oh, where'd you go on your mission?
Yeah.
I'm just like, I didn't go on a mission, man. Get out of here.
I went to Afghanistan. Interesting. Okay, so you go to school, you don't know what for.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you didn't know what you're going for, why did you go?
Just because at the time, I thought that's what I needed to do.
And it was free.
Yeah. And you got paid like BAH. They pretty much paid for your housing. So I was getting paid to go to college.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it was
so
like-
your school is free and you got paid.
Yeah.
Got paid enough that you didn't have to work?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Wow. So then how long did you do that for?
Like 4 years.
Did you graduate then?
No. Okay.
Nothing.
Okay.
You got a bachelor's though, right?
I could have had it. I'm like super close to it.
Oh, wait, what's the first one after 2 years?
Associates.
Oh, okay, so you got that.
No. Like I probably have enough credits.
And
but
they
I
were just paying for you the whole time, even though you weren't like moving the needle necessarily.
Not really. Yeah.
You were just doing it because why else? You're getting
Right.
paid. And
Well,
it's like pretty easy.
Like I honestly thought I was gonna. I went back to be a doctor, right? Like
Oh, okay.
you think, okay, who makes a lot of money?
Yeah.
It's like I'm gonna be a doctor. Okay, so we went through.
Did you want to be a doctor for any reason besides the money?
No. And I found that out real fast.
Oh, this is awesome.
Yeah. So I took like all the prerequisites of being a doctor.
That's got to be hard.
It was cool stuff, right? And then I was thinking, maybe I shouldn't be a doctor. Maybe I should be a nurse.
Because it's easier? Or?
Probably. So.
You know what's interesting? I'm surprised you didn't go to like trade school to be like a master electrician because you had all that like experience like figuring things out.
I was going to do that too. I think that's what I did first.
It's all blurred.
They were gonna give me like half my hours to my journeyman or something.
Yeah.
But something I can't remember what happened. Something happened and I didn't end up doing that.
So you wanted to be a doctor.
Yeah.
Then you thought, fuck it, I'll be a nurse.
Right. So I've never worked so hard in school. Like school's been pretty easy for me.
Yeah.
Up until that point. Like I worked so hard to get these grades and I just didn't.
Did you get good grades?
Not really. You know, it's just like, dang, like you get these tests back and, you know, like the anatomy stuff and you're just like, geez.
Well, and if you don't really want to do it, like if you're
That's-
only doing it because of the money, then you're not really into it.
Yeah.
You're just like trying to fucking get through it.
Right. And this is there was one thing that really kind of pretty much told me like, yeah, you don't want to do this. So to be a nurse, you have to also do like CNA stuff
Okay.
and you have to do CNA clinicals.
Okay.
So I had a clinical
CNA is certified nurse.
assistant.
Okay.
Yeah. They do all this crappy stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sure it's
It's the
rewarding.
990 of nurses.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
I bet it has to do with feces.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, we get there and
Help nurses out.
yeah, so my assistant that is supposed to be I'm supposed to be shadowing isn't
Yeah.
there. So
Is it the hospital here in St. George?
no, it's at just a nursing home here.
Oh,
in
even
town.
worse.
Yeah. And so the first place I get to go is the like memory ward, like dementia ward,
Oh my.
you know.
Yeah.
And so I'm helping this other girl, nursing assistant, help like an older lady take a bath. And she's like in the shower sitting on like, you know, like a shower chair.
Oh, that's tough, man.
And she just takes like a duker like right there in the shower. And I'm just like, I'm out. I'm done. I'm not doing this.
I knew it was going to be poop related because that's tough, dude. Even
Yeah.
just like, that's a hard, thank goodness people are willing to do it, right?
And yeah.
Because you got to have someone who's, but man, that's not for me.
Right. Yeah. So then I went and found my instructor and I was like, all right, can I do something else?
That day you just knew.
Yeah. So my instructor takes me to another older lady and was like, you can help her shower. So I'm, you know, trying to paint this picture here. This, I'm a male and I have
Yeah.
a beard,
Yeah.
you know, and she takes me into this lady and she's like, here's Alex. He's one of our students. Can he help you take a shower? And this lady is like, I don't mind if he doesn't mind. And I'm just
Dude,
like,
I mean, for me, honestly, if I got to have someone help me shower, like just,
yeah,
that's it, you know?
just take me out back.
Yeah, give me an exit.
Yeah. So
Okay, she's a little excited. Here's
yeah.
this
So
like
so here I am.
buff military Marine, like washing her down. She's kind of pumped about it.
Yeah. So after that, I was like, I'm
How
not
was the
doing this.
shower?
Huh?
How was it? Did she get handsy with you at all?
No, not too much.
So you leave the nursing home, you're going home to your wife, and in your mind, you're like, I can't fucking do
Yeah,
this.
I'm not doing this.
And so do you tell her that day, or do you like sit
Yeah.
on it?
No, I told her, I'm like, I'm not doing that. So I skipped my next clinical. I'm just like, I'm not going. And then we get to like the final, like your finals.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, I'm not doing that. I'm not even going to go. So I just stayed in bed that morning.
And how many years had you been working towards this at that point?
It was only like one semester towards that.
Oh, okay. So what's
Yeah.
a semester? Like 6 months?
Yeah, half a year, I think.
Okay. Did your wife care when you said like I'm not doing it? Was she upset with you?
I don't think so. I think she was like, I knew you wouldn't. I knew that wasn't really.
I was
for
like,
you,
it was like
you
a
know?
told you so moment.
Kind of, but not in like a mean way.
Okay.
You know,
Just
it's
like a little bit
it's
ribbing
like,
you.
Yeah, like she knows me better than I know myself. type
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
Man, okay, so then what do you decide? So now you're like, then what?
I'm like, all right, well.
And hold on, you're making enough money from the government that this is fine. You can support your family, no problem.
Well, we're living with her parents.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think I'm making like $1,500 a month or something. Not
And
too
that was
much.
like 2014.
Yeah, 2014, 15, somewhere around there.
Man, that's crazy. It's like
Yeah.
now that wouldn't even be enough to rent like a shitty apartment.
Right.
Crazy. Okay, so you live in your, so you decide you're not going to do it. So then what?
So I was like, all right, what do I like doing? You know, it's like, okay, let's go into tech. So we go to like a full.
Hold on. Did any part of you think like, man, I should just go back to the Marines? Like when that old lady shit in the shower, you're thinking like, damn, I should have just stayed in the Marines.
Yeah, I tried to go back.
You did?
At like 27, you know.
Yeah.
I went into like the Air Force guys. And they're
Yeah.
like, how old are you? And I'm like, I'm 27. And they just laughed at me. I was like, you fucking guys. So I left, and then, because like our recruit stations here in town, they're like right next to each other.
Okay.
So I just went back into the Marines and was like, what are the chances of me coming back and like going officer or something?
Yeah.
And they're like, you're 27. You have to do it like right now.
Oh.
So I kicked that idea around for a minute. And then I just, no.
Is that not for you?
There's just not a way. There's no way, really.
Okay, so after the poop incident, you decide I'm going tech.
Yeah. Computer science. I'm
Okay.
going after it.
And so then what did you do there?
So it was like a lot of calculus.
Oh,
We
terrible.
jumped in like Python and like a bunch of coding stuff, which was cool,
Yeah.
But at the time I was trying to get a job too. So I'm going to school full time, like 17 credits or something.
Yeah.
And
Did your wife work at this time, or was she just at home with the kiddo?
I think she was either in MA school,
What's that?
medical assisting,
Oh, okay.
or she had already gotten hired. I don't remember exactly when
Okay.
she got hired there. It was around that time though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You said she worked there for like a decade, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
10 years. She
Yeah,
just
so that-
recently.
So it
left.
would have been 2014 that she would have
Yeah.
been doing that. Okay, so she's got that job. So now you're doing your schooling for coding.
Mhm.
So is it coding or computer science? Is that different?
Computer science. I think you do a lot. You do coding.
Yeah.
But I think it's more like logic, conditional stuff.
Okay.
So
did you like it?
it was cool. I liked it. But the math, like going in like calculus
That's terrible.
and then trig, like it was cool to know it because to me, math always works in a way,
Yeah.
but I think I just took on way too much,
Yeah.
and I remember finals for math. I walked in, I was late. I walked in.
Why were you late?
I don't know. Just didn't
Wanted
want
to
to
stay
be
in
there,
bed?
So I get there. Everybody's already there, like starting. I pick up my test. I go sit down, put my name on it, close my test, stand up, and go turn it in. And I say, have a great summer. You should have seen the look on these kids' face. Like, what the?
Oh my gosh, you just said fuck it.
Yeah.
So you're not a finals guy.
No.
Finals come around and you're like, nah,
Nah.
not for you.
Let's get out of here.
So what happened there? So you leave.
So I
What's that phone call like to your wife?
think I just waited to tell her afterwards. Just like, look, I don't know. It's not really for me, I guess.
Yeah.
How
How many
Yeah.
years had you been in school at that point?
Probably like 3, 4.
Dang. And so then what did you do?
I was working at one of the dealerships here in town, like one of the Finleys, like at Hyundai or I was
Okay.
at Kia, one of the two.
Uh-huh.
I think might have been Kia at that time. So I just decided, well, maybe I'll just be a mechanic.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
I'll just not stop going to school.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this anyways.
Yeah.
And worked there for a while.
How did you get into what you're doing now? Like, what was the transition from I'm a mechanic at Kia to I'm working at HFB or running marketing ads for people? Like,
Well,
what did that look like?
Like I pretty much taught myself how to make websites, like HTML. My dad had a HTML book, and I
Okay.
just used it. So it was always something that I liked.
What were you
doing.
building them for at that time? Just for fun? Like a
Yeah.
hobby site?
Yeah. Just to see what I could do, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I had a buddy that worked at HFE when
Okay.
I first started. And
Yeah.
He got me in as a developer.
So that's what you did at HFB, you were a developer.
Mhm.
And then how long were you there for?
See, October, like 2017 to 2019.
So you were at Kia for a while then as a mechanic.
Yeah.
Did you like that gig?
It was all right, but I just didn't see like a position ever opening as far as like a master tech where you
Yeah.
can actually make money.
Yeah.
And I was just doing like lube tech stuff. So,
990 shit.
yep.
Okay, so you go to HFB, you do that for a couple of years, and then you started your own marketing company?
Yeah. So I was, at the time, it wasn't real happy with where I was at
Yeah.
at HFB. It's came a long ways. And
Yeah.
It's super impressive of what it is now.
Yeah.
So I was already kind of on my way out, and I was approached by, two buddies who were starting another company, and they're like, "We need a developer. You interested?" It's like, "Yeah, let's do it."
Okay. And that was your first entrepreneurial experience.
Mhm.
So what was that like, being an entrepreneur for the first time?
Loved it. Instantly addicted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think like our first week we closed like $20,000 to $30,000 in contract value.
Nice.
And it was just like, wow, we can really do this.
Yeah, it's an exciting feeling being an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
You know, it's scary too, because then you got a week where you close zero, and it's like, oh, can we do this? You
Yeah.
know, that's what it's like.
Yeah, exactly. So it went really well for a few months, and then, COVID kind of came in there, and we lost a lot of clientele.
Oh, you had that during COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, because we started in 2019. We did really well.
Oh, man. So COVID kind of put you guys out.
Yeah, a little bit. Like we lost a bunch of clients, and then it just I just didn't really like where we were going as far as like quality.
Did you get ownership in that company then when they brought you on?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think I just gave it up.
Finals came and you were like, nah.
Yep, I'm out.
So with COVID, that really does that company close then now? Or is it still active?
I think it's there, but I don't think anyone's actively doing anything with it.
Got it.
Yeah.
And so then is that when you started your own stuff then?
Mm-hmm.
And did you like that more or less?
I liked it more because I got to like determine
no
quality,
partners. Yeah.
And like the journey and everything. Yeah. But it did kind of suck that nobody was there to hold you accountable. So days where I just didn't feel like doing it.
I just wouldn't. Yeah.
Just lay in bed.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to have that mental fortitude to be an entrepreneur, because you can just be like, I don't feel like doing it.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to do. So when did you learn marketing? Like when along that journey did you learn all the marketing stuff?
Probably the most when I had to do it myself.
Oh, for your company.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Because I have to sell and I have to find leads and then I have to fulfill. It was just me. It wasn't nobody else.
That makes sense.
You know.
So of all the things you've done, looking back on your career, what did you enjoy doing the most?
I enjoy marketing. But
Yeah.
I miss like my buddies and the
camaraderie of being a part of the Marines.
Yeah. Like having that mission.
Yeah.
For sure.
So you look back on that with fondness.
Mm-hmm.
So now, like, what's your big, hairy, audacious goal? What's the thing that's 3 years down the road that like you're striving for now? What's the thing that you're working towards?
I think just being in a position where I'm not the only one doing what we're doing.
Yeah, like building a team at Viper Marketing.
Yep.
Running a team of people, getting that camaraderie back.
Yep. I
like that. What about you obviously listen to the podcast, so you know what's coming, but what's the biggest win you've ever had in your life?
The biggest win? I would say just having the opportunity to go through everything that I have gone through, because I feel like that's kind of made me into who I am.
Yeah. It's amazing when you think about it, because like when you were 17 and enrolling in the Marines, at that time you probably thought like, oh, I'll be in the Marines for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
You just never
wants to do 20 years.
Yeah, you never know where your life's going to end up.
Yeah.
I mean, even me being in hospitality, it's like that was never on my radar.
Right.
Or even owning a marketing company, that was never on my radar.
Mm-hmm.
You just really never know. And even now, we're still relatively young.
Yeah.
Like who knows what we'll be doing 20 years from now? How old are you right now?
I'll be 35 in October.
Yeah, so you'll be like 55. That's still young.
Yeah.
Like who knows what you'll be doing in 20 years from now? It's wild.
Right.
So that's why we got to just be in the present moment. So then opposite of that, what's the biggest loss you've ever had?
That was kind of a hard one. Let's see, biggest loss. I think there was a time where I got kind of like low, I guess, like super depressed.
Okay.
And
is this something you've had to battle throughout your life, or was like this one moment that it kind of just got hold of you?
I'd say throughout my life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happened on this time?
you just get to a point where maybe you feel like you don't want to be here anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
What part of your life was this?
Probably a year ago.
Oh, wow. So not that
Yeah.
recently.
Yeah.
It was your hesitation to answer the question, deciding if you wanted to share that or not, or was it deciding if that was the biggest loss?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to share.
Yeah.
How serious did that thought get for you? You don't have to share it if you don't want to.
Yeah, I mean, serious enough where like you were kind of fantasizing about it and planning it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that got that deep for you.
Yeah.
What pulled you out of it?
I didn't want somebody to find me,
Seems like that's what stops people a lot. Like Matt Blanchard, you listen
Yeah.
to Matt's
Yep.
episode, right? Yeah, he
Mhm.
talked about. I mean, he was in the shower with his pistol, like ready to
Mhm.
do it, but then realized, like, man, it would be my son that would find me,
Exactly.
and the traumatization of that.
Yeah, I had a childhood friend that his dad had committed suicide, and he had found him, and he just wasn't the same afterwards.
Yeah, you couldn't be. So, how did you get yourself out of it? Like, what pulled you out of that state?
I think asking those really hard questions of yourself, like,
Yeah,
do I want to die?
yeah,
And obviously you don't.
yeah.
I think when you get to a point where you feel hopeless, that's kind of where you start thinking about that kind of stuff.
What was driving that sense or feeling of hopelessness?
Lack of purpose.
Interesting. Do you think it was because you had so much purpose in the military, and then now, like, obviously you don't have the same level of purpose as a civilian as you do when you're like,
Well,
in a
yeah, because
war-
at that
war
time
state.
I was still trying to do my own thing,
Yeah.
and my wife's working. I'm not making any money, so
Yeah.
it kind of takes away.
It's a hard thing, right?
Yeah.
Like if you,
Well, you're a man.
as a man, you want to be the breadwinner, and also not only you're a man, but you're a military man.
Yeah.
So there's steps of manlyhood, right?
Right.
Military man, that's up there, So to know that you're struggling in your business and that's why I kind of asked, because I feel like oftentimes, like, a struggle and financial support can, especially as a man, like with a family, it can be just sickening, traumatizing.
Oh yeah, you get to a point where you have to like ask people for money. That's like, that crushes you.
Yeah.
So to ask those hard questions, and really just because I was on like medication for it and everything,
You were.
and I kind of just got to a point where I had to say, I have no reason to be depressed.
Yeah.
And accepting maybe my mind is creating problems because they're creating problems to solve because I don't have any problems to solve.
Yeah. That's a great, what a great line. So did you confide in your wife, or like, how long did you deal with that internally by yourself before you reach out to someone to help you?
I would say like at the lowest, probably 3-4 months.
Wow. That you were in that state.
Yeah.
Man, dude, I'm sorry. That's hard. I hate to hear that.
Well, I mean, it is hard, but I think a lot of people, I mean, just listening to the podcast, a lot of
Shocking.
people go through it.
Shocking.
And
So many people.
yeah.
And they just don't, they don't talk about it. Like Thomas, that you mentioned that episode, out of our friend group that we're a very, very close, intimate friend group that have been friends for, 20 years. Many people will hear about that for the very first time listening to the podcast,
Yeah.
I mean, I just barely found out about it, and it's like, so how do you help people in those situations? Because if you don't know, you don't know. That's why I think you being willing to share it and be vulnerable is so impactful, because maybe there's another ex-military guy who's like, I can't share these thoughts of depression or lack thereof because, like, I'm supposed to be
I've had
the strong man. You know what I mean?
I've had a handful of friends commit suicide.
Were they all military people?
Yep.
I think part of that is that purpose that you had, that there's like a void you can't kind of fill.
Yeah, because I mean, you go from knowing exactly what you need to do and having a job, a mission.
Yeah.
You have people that count on you to nothing,
What would you say was the biggest catalyst to pull you out of those, like those 4 months of turmoil?
Getting a job.
Really?
Yeah.
Was that with us?
No.
Oh, okay.
The person where I was before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And just knowing like, okay,
I have to be there.
yeah. And financially, like, I'm going to have money for my family.
Exactly.
Going to be
Yep.
supporting. What advice would you have to someone who's going through, like, if someone is listening to this and they're in that 4-month spell
Mhm.
of depression, do you have any advice for them
Yeah.
on?
I do. I would say, find a why,
Hell yeah.
and work on yourself. Because I mean, you get to a point where your hopelessness, you don't have like there's no hope. And
Yeah.
that's where you want to leave. I think you need to, start working on yourself mentally, physically.
Yeah.
Start working out, get
Yeah.
some sunshine, eat some good food.
It's true.
Just things that you can control.
Were you listening to like the Andy Frisellas and that of the world during this time, or is that kind of one of the things that helped like pull you out of it?
So it was like last September is when things really started. I started paying attention to things like that.
Yeah.
Changing my diet,
Is that when you started running again?
working out, things like that. Things that I looked forward to, small wins,
Yeah.
Andy just says it really well. He says, if you win enough days, you're going to win the week. You win enough weeks, you're going to win the month. And if you win enough months, you're going to win the year. And if you win enough years, you're going to win in life.
Yeah.
So,
Dude, that's what it's all about. So I got these bracelets right here.
Yep.
Just fucking get a couple wins a day.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just stack them on top of each other and create that positive momentum in your life. So was there a time that you confided in your wife to let her know that you were in that space, or was that like hard to do because?
it was hard at first because I felt like maybe she would judge me.
And even admitting it in itself is almost like a failure, right? Like
Yeah.
then you're just like letting her down again,
Right.
Putting extra additional stress on her.
Yeah.
But you ended up finally confiding in her.
Yeah. I think it was after, we really kind of talked about it after I had gotten that job and started making a little bit of money where I could kind of.
Now it's behind you, so you could
Mhm.
finally let it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hard. I think that's the other piece too, is having those outlets to be able to talk about it. Find someone to vocalize that. So I'm curious, was there, as you were like pulling yourself out, was there? And I know you listen to Andy Frisella. Were there any books that you read or anything that had a positive impact in you in that
so
way?
there's one called Lost Connections.
Lost Connections.
Yeah, I can't remember the author. But it's just another way to look at depression and anxiety and what causes it.
Yeah.
And he kind of goes into like having a lack of like community, and pretty much goes into like how most medications don't help you.
Yeah.
They're like placebos or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that book alone kind of pushed me to just kind of not take medication. Which
So you're off medication now?
That's
great.
Which I don't recommend unless you're like mentally.
At a place you can do
Yeah.
without it.
Because when I came off, I don't think I should have came off at that time.
Really?
Yeah, because that's kind of when I started having those really in-depth fantasies of dying.
Wow.
Yeah.
You got to make sure you're in the right place before you do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, but now you have way more clarity. There's no fog.
Yeah.
So.
Well, man, I appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing that story. And I didn't know it. I didn't know that was a part of your story. I think it's a great way to transition out and then ask you now, given all that you've been through, all your different experiences, how do you define success today? Like, how does this Alex define success?
So success for me, I think, is, I want to get to a place mentally, physically, financially, where I can pursue like my God-given purpose. I don't know what that is yet. But I think in the pursuit of becoming more successful mentally, physically, and financially, you'll get to a place where you can pursue that.
I think it's cool, too, to acknowledge, like, you don't know what it is yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you got to really do some fucking deep work to figure out what that purpose is going to
Right.
be. And it might change, too, right? Because obviously there were times in your life that you did have that purpose. But, like, what's the new purpose going to be for you? What are you going to go after? And sadly, the truth is you kind of do have to have that triangle in place before you get the luxury of pursuing it.
Exactly.
Right? Because like if you don't have money, then the stresses of the day-to-day world are going to inhibit your ability to have the clarity to find that purpose.
Right.
So I think, that's a prerequisite to that.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. All right, brother. Anything else you want to share with the audience?
No, watch all your episodes.
And if you have a company, reach out to us. Sign up for Vibrant Marketing. We'll give you your first month free. Alex is the dog. All of our clients are absolutely killing the game. So if you need more eyeballs on your business, reach out to us and we'll get you squared away.
Heck yeah.
All right, brother. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.